fi parama naranalama palukishi elefina malapara hoshke fi pama apka fapa halamoro noshkirifi apkaranafa palotoshmo paparana ye lapkiri fipiri palala morono harashki fa pamadaha halaporoshko hefipima hapkari la mamanaha hashki fe palo lolo popo lo poro poro hereshki herefi para mara mala apalo po moroshki hepkefi para pala mana hereshki no mofopoho Helemanaham Kashifepi Pupitilu Manamashka Apalo Loko Chomo Apadi Piri Pilapa Hapkashie Papa Palo Moho Mapalaha Ho Maraham Yeskifi allo oho hereshki mafa panana lokomoreshi fapipiri bapamana noshk fipiha halahashk fimi polokomo. How is everybody today? You know what I mean? Now, I think I'm live. Yes, kifush mufu mupu la papo loco la pala aloloco tuhu hapkafu pali paru puru eskifi pala paraha. I think I'm live. Heshkefi paro moroshkefi. All right, what are we doing here? How's your life, man? I'm Jim Dedelow, host of Jed in Region, and I'm hanging out with you, but I don't know if I'm live. Yeah, I guess I am. Right? Eshifi para karoshmifi hapalara ma nahaha heshkefi paro. I can't believe it. We're live on YouTube. Now let us see if we're live on the radio. Haparu fa pa karafa heshkefi para maronyepi. Faparaha. We are not live on the radio. Yeah. We're on both places. I can't believe it. I figured it out without any of the young intelligentsia being here. That is just really surprising. How's your day, man? It's a Tuesday morning. I'm used to playing a couple songs, but we are on YouTube. U-boot. Pala paroro koshmifi. No one could believe it. Now, I actually have some texts here that can come in on YouTube, and I can read the chat room. So if I have something hanging from my nose, or if I don't know, you hear just a little bit of an embarrassing sound in the background that I'm not aware of, all you got to do is put it into the chat room now, and I got to look at it because I've been given directions by Miss Adriana Alvarez, and I think there's 4 of them, and they're kind of telling me what to do here. So, hey, let's take a look at what's going on with traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moving along well. Now, now I got to apologize. I have been keeping up. If you guys been listening, we're trying to upgrade things over the holidays, and we kind of started a little early. And you'll hear some of the older shows and podcasts and up to the minute news from 219 News Now, and we'll hear it, also some stuff if it breaks on Paul Goddard's Region News Source. So just stay tuned and stay patient through the holidays. I think we'll get it right. Touch of morning rain today, otherwise mostly cloudy. So right now it's 47. It actually it's pretty nice out. And then it goes up to a high of 53 degrees. And then it drops pretty hard tomorrow. This time tomorrow will be quite a bit colder as winds gusting past 40 miles an hour. And it should be a high of only about 35 degrees, 36 degrees. And this time of year, it actually is slightly warmer sometimes at the lake than it is away from it. So 37 in Whiting and 34 in Corn Point. And pretty big winds. It's going to feel really cold. It's going to feel like it's in the teens. And then by Thursday, a pretty cold Thanksgiving day. Breezy and cold with sunshine and a few clouds, and a high of only about 33 degrees. Same thing on Friday, cold with sun and clouds and a high of 33. Saturday, get some snow, cold with periods of snow and a high of 32 degrees. La Mara, Apkarashmafa, Lolo, ho ho. All right, is there radio on? Is there dead air on the radio? Let's see. All right, somebody says here. All right, I'm just letting you know there's currently dead air on the radio. All right, let me look over to this trusty chat board. Is the radio working? All right, let's see. I'll put it in the chat. How about the radio? Am I on? There you go. Thanks. There's a bunch of people in there already. Thank you. Answering me and so forth. So there you go. You got traffic and weather. Now, I knew you were going to ask, but what did I do last night? I went to the Pirates outing, and I will play the speech later by Olivia Longo. And all right, yeah, I guess it is on. Thank you. All right, it is on. Thank you guys for texting me in. Olivia Longo is 24 years old, and she has been with the kind of an ambassador for Down syndrome and the Down Syndrome Association. I will play her speech a little later, maybe after Ronnie Ware comes in. Now, Ronnie Ware is supposed to come in with a coffee, so I don't have one in front of me to share and act sane, because coffee comes and gives you a little bit of sanity, you know what I mean? But I did go to the Pirates outing last night. It's one of the coolest organizations, started kind of by the construction industry. And what you go there and it's $200 a seat, and they get that kind of make money off of that. And they have I went and played in the golf outing over the summer with Mark Grimmer and Kevin Roach and his son. And it was, they make a bunch of money there. That's really their main fundraisers, but they gave a $100,000 check to Tradewinds, and I think a $60,000 check to the Down Syndrome Association, and they gave $20,000 to somebody else. So I think they gave away $180,000 checks right there at the banquet at the, what is that, the Arts Center in Munster. All right, let's hear a little news, and then on the other side of that, I'll be back. I'll take some phone calls, and you get the idea. Here it is, Andrew Garcia with some 219 News Now. Hey, Andrew, what'd you say?
219 News Now is brought to you by the South Shore Line and by Strachan Van Til, making lives easier for 95 years.
I'm Andrew Garcia, and this is your 219 News Now. Amazon Web Services is set to make a groundbreaking $15 billion investment in a data center or centers in Northwest Indiana, marking the largest private sector investment in the state's history. The cloud computing arm of Amazon is already working on an $11 billion data center campus in St. Joseph County and is planning to expand with an additional 2.4 gigawatts of data center capacity in the region. AWS is also seeking approval for another $12 billion data center in St. Joseph County, where it currently operates a smaller facility, while Amazon has two major distribution centers in Maryville. The pre-Thanksgiving travel weather forecast calls for cold but fairly clear conditions. However, the journey home for those leaving could be tricky, according to the National Weather Service. This is an early tap on the shoulder for potential accumulating snow related to travel impacts on Saturday, the NWS Chicago office is warning. The current prediction calls for a 60% chance of snow for Saturday, but it is still a little early to predict when the storm will hit and how much snow can be expected, officials said. The potential exists for noteworthy post-holiday travel impacts due to snow-covered roads, NWS said. The school city of Hammond is proposing raises for teachers totaling over $1,000, which includes a one-time $750 retention stipend and a $500 cost of living stipend for both new and returning teachers. The proposed contract, retroactive to July 1st, also includes additional stipends for teachers who achieve certain qualifications, such as becoming fully licensed or earning high ratings on evaluations. Despite missing the state's deadline for contract approval, the district and teachers union reached an agreement on November 15th, and the Hammond School Board is set to vote on the proposed contract on December 2nd. And in sports, it's rivalry week in college football, and Indiana will head to West Lafayette to take on Purdue in the Old Oaken Bucket game. The Hoosiers bludgeoned the Boilers a year ago in a 66-0 shutout. However, the circumstances surrounding this year's edition of the rivalry game are different. The voice of IU football, Don Fisher, explains why.
The biggest key right now for this Indiana football team is don't get anybody hurt. Get your guys out there, get this game in hand. And I don't think it's going to be the kind of game we saw a year ago with Purdue. I think they're a better football team than that. But at the same time, you want to take care of business and you want to do it as equitably as possible without injuries and those kinds of things, because what lies ahead, if you win it, is the Big Ten championship game.
To read up on more local news and headlines, visit jedtv.com and nwi.com. I'm Andrew Garcia, and this has been your 219 News Now.
All right. Pretty good. Pretty neat. Thanks to Andrew, and I will do this. Trying to play a couple spots so I can pay a couple bills first and take a short break, but the only way to get there is for me to kind of hum for a little bit, and then it'd be like, Halamoro noroskofo, hapkaliri fi parum koro, hapkalira shmi fa pupa, lokomoro norishki fiti, hapkalama na maha. Halaporoshki hifi para. All right, so let's figure this out, huh? I've got to leave this up somehow so it doesn't loop, because you folks on YouTube, not yet. So I get them on the radio, and I get them on, so you just don't get them on YouTube now, huh? So I got to fix this. I'm thinking out loud so that people that are watching on YouTube, that's how you get his meat. Oh, I got an idea. I'll do this. Palaka, hapkari, shifi, pamoporo, aporo, paluhu, hereshki, fapa, hapkofopo. Lara moro no moroho, erehishkafa palo.
Funny. The man has jokes.
He's funny. Okay.
Kanaha, Lora horoshki. Afki fapa. Papalana pamanaha. Heshkehi fapo palahana. Free music, so I got to make up my own lyrics. How is everybody, huh? AM 1230 WGGB. My name's Jim Dedelow, host of Jed in the Region. Well, no, it isn't. It's host of the Jim Dedelow Show. And I got to tell you a couple things. First of all, every player remembers the first time they held a football, tiny hands, big dreams, a world that suddenly felt full of possibilities. The roar of the crowd, a chance to play for a state championship. And for now, it is all real as Andrean is on the 2A state championship against Brownstown Central. All right? And then it'll be Maryville also. We will have neither of those games on TV. But I do believe we will have it on the radio. I think the 5A game is actually announced. That's the Maryville game. Is actually announced by Brian Jennings on the radio, Indiana Radio Network. So that'll be kind of cool. Well, I'll have times for you, and maybe later in the show, but certainly by tomorrow they'll have all the time set. It's kind of cool because both Andrean and Maryville people are going down, and there's not a huge rivalry. I mean, they play in the first week in football. They play the first week, and then they're just kind of done, and then they kind of root for each other, and they're certainly rooting for each other now as both are going down to Lucas Oil. This is kind of a big weekend. All right, let's take a look at what else is going on here. In terms of traffic, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Yeah, 80 going west looks good. 80 coming back on the east part. There's been an accident. I don't know. It was around 5. It says 5:08 a.m. And it was coming back from Joliet. 80, man, that stretch of 80, it's just so dangerous, man. It's always having accidents, big ones. And it's coming back from, I guess it's, I don't know, what is that, by right kind of near the 294 split there. It's backed up for miles. So if you know somebody coming back on 80, good luck. Put them down to US 30 and see if they can make it that way. But 294 up to the airport looks pretty good. The Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan are about normal. Starting to get some backups at the merge. And then as you get close to Jane Byrne, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moving along well. That was an awful accident, and a worker collecting debris along local stretch of I-65 was struck and seriously injured Monday afternoon by a pickup truck traveling at a high rate of speed. That was around 2:30 p.m., and it was a little bit north of 61st Avenue. So a white 2006 Silverado was traveling at a high rate of speed in the right lane when, for an unknown reason, it struck a white 2021 Ford F-150 and trailer parked on the right shoulder. The force of this impact pushed the F-150 into the pedestrian who was standing outside of the pickup collecting debris in the ditch. The Silverado then overturned and came to rest in the right lane. So the worker sustained serious injuries and was flown to the scene to the University of Chicago Medicine Hospital for treatment. The driver of the Silverado was transported to Franciscan Health, also with very serious injuries. The parked truck and trailer belonged to Interstate Business Solutions, which is a roadway contractor whose employees routinely work along the interstates picking up trash and debris. And this should not be emphasized, or could be emphasized more. The Indiana State Police urge all motorists to move over or significantly reduce speed when approaching work crews, emergency vehicles, or anyone stopped on the side of the roadway. A moment of caution can prevent a tragedy. That is awful, and it is quite ironic, as we had a couple of people that were going to the Pirates outing yesterday that showed up late, partly because they were stuck in traffic on I-65, and I have a feeling it was because of this. And I don't know what to tell you. I sat with, ultimately I come out of the laborers union. Basically all the unions were there last night, and we actually got to talking about trying to get people to slow down in construction areas. There's a lot of laborers usually on the surface around, either changing holding the signs or busting up some concrete. But you always have laborers on the site, even putting pavement down, that kind of thing. And so you hear the LIUNA spots, and they're spot on. Just slow down in the construction seats. Now, we typically run those spots in the spring. I think now I can't remember what the LIUNA spot. I mean, it's the same thing. There's still people working along, on highways and stuff, and that's just an awful thing. Anyways, in weather, I hope the people are all right. I don't know who they are. They don't have any names or anything. But to the families that may be listening, we're thinking about you, especially us come out of the construction trades, man. That's like your worst nightmare. You know what I mean? I've worked on highways when there's people going by, yelling at you, spitting on you even sometimes. I had to wait. You guys did. Well, hey, man, what do you think? Well, you think the road's going to be really nice here in like a couple months. Anyways, a touch of morning rain, otherwise mostly cloudy and a high of 53. It's actually pretty temperate right now. It's 48 degrees at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. 47 degrees at Ironworkers Local 395 and 47 degrees at Laborers Local 41 in Munster and 47 also at Roofers Local 26 in Hobart, Crown Point, Maryville. I'm not really sure which one that is. And Wednesday, winds gusting past 40 miles an hour, cloudy and colder. And then by Thursday, Thanksgiving, breezy and cold with sunshine and a few clouds. By Friday, cold with some sun and clouds. Now, I think that I'm on YouTube. Now, it took a little while. It took some months to actually get that right. I will take one phone call before I go to my guest. Hey, you're on the air. How are you? What's going on?
Good morning.
Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
How old is this radio station now?
101, almost 102 years old. Why?
100 years ago, you know what was invented?
What?
And I don't know if you did it, I did it, but the photo booth. You'd sit in there and then take 4 pictures and they'd come out, be a little bit dripping wet. Did you ever do that when you was young?
Yeah, I got little photo booth stuff. That was invented 100 years ago today?
Yeah, I saw it on the news. And then real quick, I want to say something for people in our area. I saw it on the news. At 9 o'clock, Calumet Township was having a food drive on somewhere on 41st Avenue in Gary, Indiana today. But now another thing about the photo booths, old stores when I was a kid lived in Glen Park. On 51 and 20, there used to be the Kmart and the Zehrs. And then on Grant Street used to be the Spartan. And then in the Village Shopping Center used to be the Pennies, the Gold Blast, and all the good, and the little hot dog stand, But I remember, too, the photo booths. But then when I started to get a little older, I bought one of them wonderful Polaroid cameras. You stick the thing in, watch your picture develop. And then, dumb me, I got a little nosy, was trying to figure out how does that thing work? And I started to try to take it apart. And, buddy, I was young, so I had a little bit of hair on my arms, but they weren't gray yet. And boy, did I get zapped from that thing. But no, I was sitting there, and then when I was a kid, remember we used to have the old A&P grocery store, and my mom and dad would get them S&H green stamps. I couldn't wait till they got home. I'd lick them, put them in the book, all the good old days.
How are you? I mean, all of a sudden you started thinking about all these things, or how did this come about?
Well, because 100 years. Well,
because of the.
I'm old.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
I'm only 67, so and then you subtract about when I was a kid, but all the wonderful things, and then the old bonanza steakhouse restaurants and Ponderosas, the old good sit down restaurants, But no, I was sitting there just thinking, okay, station's 102, and the photo booth,
It's a lot of memories. Hey, I do know that you're still teaching trucking, right?
Yeah, that's like, this morning all I do is I get up and go there and I take the students to get tested because I went to the doctor.
All right, hold on, Mike. I got a question for you, okay? So this worker was seriously injured on I-65 picking up trash, and it said that it looks like the person worked for some interstate business solutions, a roadway contractor whose employees routinely work along interstates picking up trash and debris while wearing high visibility orange vests. I thought that was a county thing, but evidently they have contractors doing that. And this Silverado evidently hit the back of it looks like it hit the back of the stationary vehicle going, when it was going really fast, and pushed the stationary vehicle into the ditch or along the side of the road where the guy was picking stuff up. What do you say about that?
What do I say? Everybody that operates a motor vehicle, regardless of what it is, when you're going down the expressway, if you see some light flashing, the best thing in your life so you don't harm anybody else is just slow down. Like me, when I'm taking a student on a test drive, okay, if we're on the interstate, we got traffic on our left side. I tell the student to slow down at least to 50 miles an hour and kind of move over a little bit, But the best thing is, if you can move over safely, move out of the way. When you see a flashing light on the side of the shoulder somewhere, that means slow down, be safe, because there's somebody up there that needs to get home to their family too,
Yeah. All right, Mike, I appreciate your call. Thanks a lot. Ron Ware, how are you?
Hey, Jim, how are you?
I'm doing okay. That's a sad one,
Yeah, that's a great comment by the caller, and credit and kudos to the laborers organization statewide. Helped to create some legislation here recently with the assistance of Representative Jim Pressel from just out east, speed construction zone, speed enforcement. Just one small step to try to make those job sites or those workers like you're talking about a little safer. No matter what time of year, it's a tragic event. I hate to see it right now with the holidays coming up, or any time of year for any of those individuals, men or women, that are out there working every day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there with the laborers yesterday at that Pirates outing, and we were actually talking. Somebody made a joke about somebody didn't slow down in a work area or whatever, and it's only a little bit of a joke because it's a lot of laborers usually scurrying around. That's kind of who's up there. So LIUNA puts all these spots out, but and I know, some dude's late for work or he works at the mill or whatever. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. He's on his way somewhere. And it just becomes so easy to step on the gas, especially when you got a big engine, and that's awful, man.
Well, and I think a lot of it is also attributed to distracted driving nowadays. We're all probably guilty at some point driving down the road, and maybe you look away from, what's in front of you on the roadway. The phone's next to you, or now everybody's got a giant screen in their dashboard that shows what song is playing and everything else. Distracted driving is an issue now. So
I agree. And it's just, I just think about how many times I was sitting there I remember getting into arguments. You know what it's like. You're on a job site and somebody's in a hurry and you got it down to one lane and you're sitting there working. You're taking a rest from a jackhammer, and then you look over. I remember one woman spit on me.
We were setting the girders over the expressway on Kennedy Avenue. This is many years ago. I'm kind of dating myself, but we were doing road closures in the evening. So you have what they say the fourth busiest highway in the nation right here on 8094, and we would shut it down to one lane, and the state would, block off the lanes. And, by this time it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, and people have been out and about carousing, possibly. I've had empty and partially full beer bottles thrown at me while we were on the job site because they were upset they couldn't get where they needed to be, apparently.
You know how it is, especially on a Saturday or Sunday night in the middle of the night. And, they've been partying or whatever, and they just want to get home. Back years ago, I guess there wasn't that much enforcement, and it was kind of much more accepted to drive around half drunk, I guess. And that would happen. And it's just I just hated it always.
Yeah, and the verbal abuse that, none of us are saints, right? So some of the language we might use might not be the best, but when you hear the general public throwing all of them at you, drive 2 o'clock in the morning, it's like, wait a minute.
I'm kind of tired right now. I've been working since 8 o'clock, and hey, he's Ron Ware. He is with the Ironworkers Union for many years. Ron Ware and I've known each other since we worked at Wicker Park in high school for Horace Mamala. And
some of us worked, Jim. Some of us were there.
You know, I have to apologize a lot of times to people that I hung out that were like younger than me a little bit, or were my brothers or sisters, friends. I'm always apologizing because I'll see them, and first of all, I won't recognize them, right? And second of all, I was not, it was a different time when it was okay to like be mean to people when you were older. And I apologize, Ron, where I don't know how you accept me. I don't know my little brothers every Thanksgiving or any holiday. It's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do penance. But yes, we worked there together, and I didn't work real hard. And sometimes I kind of ripped on Ron Ware, but he is now the head of the building trades and the ironworkers union. So I have to be nice to him no matter what. But
another guy, Jim. Just another
guy. Ron Ware is also a grandfather.
Yeah.
Wes and Violet, they actually live right around the corner from my grandkids and my daughter and Kyle. Kyle.
Yep.
Yeah. Went to high school together, so they kind of all run together. So I see his grandkid, man. And
it's
in
great.
a weird way,
it's great.
I know that Kyle does it like. I'm like, dude, he looks like your grandpa. Doesn't he?
Poor kid.
He kind of looks like you,
Poor
man.
kid.
It's kind of funny. I'm like, dude, man.
They're a riot. They're a blast.
I feel like treating him meanly just because he looks like you.
Careful, he might come back at you.
Hey, Ron, I wanted you to come in and talk about a few things. Ron is how long you been head of the building trades?
About 5 years now.
So the building trades are all construction trades. Of course, as you well know, I come out of it, and it was so cool to see all the guys from the trades there last night, and a lot of contractors too, and the fund managers, and I think even Dewey Pierman was even there. It was a Dewey Pierman sighting, and there was a Mark Grimmer sighting. And everybody comes out, but it was an amazing amount of money, Ron, given $100,000 of trade wins, $60,000 to the DSA, and then $20,000 to, who was the other
Boys
one?
and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club. I mean, that's some amazing money basically coming out of the construction industry. There's some other people that get involved.
It's from all the trades, and then our partners, like you just mentioned, our signatory contractors, and then the other group that's heavily involved is the vendors that we all use and utilize, whether third-party administrators, accounting firms, legal firms. And the Pirates organization is a great group, and the evening is just it's a great evening to recognize the families that are able to be assisted by the donations that we all work on throughout the year. Current Admiral Bob Taberry does a great job, and as a former admiral, being involved in nonprofit organizations like this, that you see the end result of the work and the effort that the whole group does, and really those donations, that amount of money that you just mentioned, really only comes from two events. It's the golf outing, and then the pirate dinner. That's always the Monday before Thanksgiving, and it's just a way to start the holidays and help some families and organizations out. So it's a great organization, and happy to be part of it.
Chip Beck was the speaker. And if you guys think that I'm just kind of like stream of consciousness, and I don't really, this is what I am, almost kind of like Jack Kerouac or something. Chip Beck was a professional golfer for, I don't know, he was on the Ryder Cup 3 times. And he kind of came up, I think he's maybe 68, 69, I think he said. And he came up with Jack Nicklaus, kind of on the edge of Jack Nicklaus, maybe a little Arnold Palmer, certainly Freddie Couples. And he just was able to tell some amazing stories, but he jumped around.
He
kind of like I do.
Yeah,
he
was an interesting person, and the speakers that come there are from a very different walks of life, and Chip did a great job keeping the audience involved and moving around, telling stories behind the scenes, whether it was Jack Nicklaus or others, and So it was a nice evening.
Hey, I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, you've been doing this a while, and well, if you want to talk about how much longer you're going to do it.
Seems to be a topic of conversation lately.
It is, man. I mean,
My role as the building trades president will end middle of January coming up. The election for officers happens every 2 years, so I won't be running for election as president again of the building trades, and the reason for that is because I'll be retiring from the ironworkers at the end of June of 26. So our election cycle happens every 3 years, and our next election with the ironworkers will be the last Saturday in June. So I'll be retiring at that point. At that point, I'll have 12 years in this role as the business manager of the ironworkers. And it just, time in life, it works out right. My age and the time I've been involved with the ironworkers. There's a great group of younger guys that are already salaried officers and the officers a little below them. The local's in good hands, and time to step away. Maybe, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe nothing, maybe something. So don't have any plans yet, but that's kind of my horizon here on the future.
tell us about a couple of the names that are in the hall. Start with the big guy.
The member. Do a great job, and the local will be in good hands.
What about the building trades?
There's some discussion about who might be the next president. Whoever it is, I guess my only thought is that, you have to put aside your role, whatever organization you come from, and the decisions that you have to do are for the many and for the benefit of the whole building trades. Sometimes that's not easy for all of us, right? We're all pretty proud and staunch supporters of our trade wherever we come from. And to step aside from that and put that to the side and then do what's right for everybody. We all, building trades, hey, I always say, we're like family, and we're not all going to always agree 100% on everything, just like we do in our own families. But in the end, we're stronger and better together. And, we're all together, and don't mess with one of us when we're all together.
So you're going to leave a void at 395, and you're going to leave a void at the building trades. Are you going to stay involved at all?
If I'm asked to assist with some stuff, absolutely. Absolutely I will. But I don't have any set role or anything like that designated at this point for either the building trades or with the ironworkers.
Who's your executive director at the building trades?
Well, the business manager.
the business
manager, Randy Palmatier. Yeah. So that's not that is our executive board renews Randy's contract. So that's down the road a ways. That won't be in the same cycle as the election of officers.
Let's talk about Palmatier. He is kind of a powerful guy at times in terms of getting things done, but he can also be like, he's like my friend. That doesn't say much for his character, but he gets things done in kind of a weird environment right now. But I mean, part of the job is harnessing that power that he's been able to gather together.
Oh, and absolutely. Randy does an outstanding job for the building trades and the affiliates in the building trades working on their behalf. And, a lot of that, just like anything in life, you create relationships, you create connections, whether, developers, general contractors, politicians. So Randy has done a great job transforming, I'll say, Northwest Indiana and how we do business here. And the relationships between the trades and our signatory contractors and the end users. It's a three-legged stool. It really is. And without one, the others don't succeed well, in my opinion. And Randy does a great job of bringing everybody together. We all have different ways of doing things. You have a certain way of doing things.
What does that mean?
Maybe conventional, maybe unconventional, right? And how you approach people or relationships. But we all get some things done in the end.
We need to talk about what's going on in Michigan City at that data center. That's not your jurisdiction, is it, over there?
For the ironworkers, it is not, and for the
That's the
Northwest
South
Indiana,
Bend local,
that
right?
would be the South Bend local for the ironworkers, and for the building trades, it is not. The building trades, Northwest Indiana building trades that I'm part of, is Jasper, Newton, Lake, and Porter counties.
So we can look at it from the outside. I know you have actually had a hand over there, but that's a
Little
different
bit.
story. It's kind of when you like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. By the way, I don't think I've ever seen you with a beard.
I tried it, the no shave November kind of thing. It's been probably almost 25, 30 years since I had one. And
Okay.
And it used to be red. It's again, as we get older, everything changes, right? It used to be red.
And but in a weird way, it looks good on you. You know what I mean?
Take a picture because it's probably not going to last very
Oh,
long.
that's too bad. And that was a typical union guy. He didn't say take a picture. He said take a picture. All right. Anyways, the operating local 150, are they in the building trades? No, right?
They are not in the Northwest Indiana building
They
trades.
are not in the building trades, but they're still part of the family.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%. We work hand in hand with them every day. Our members on the job.
Yeah, I think how many trades are in the
In-
building trades?
14 right now.
14. And I want to make clear on that because you know where I'm going.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have, I sat with Roach and Sparks and Henson and the rest of them, and I am so glad you guys are in the building trades now. And I don't know how that happened.
I can't speak to things that happened in the past. I can only speak to now. And like I said earlier, we're all better together. We may not always agree on everything, whether it's relationships with end users or work jurisdiction or politics. There's going to be something that is an issue with all of us. That's just human nature. But we're better together, and I'm definitely happy that the laborers chose to rejoin the building trades here in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, it's a great thing. And
Yep.
I took a picture. I can't quite email right now, but I took a picture last night.
There you go.
With two of my favorite people in the trades. That's Kevin Roach of the laborers, and then Ron Ware. And I know you guys were like, "What? You want to take?" A lot of times people come up and want to take a picture with me, and I'm like, "No, man. This is a lot of tradition right here." Kevin Roach actually married Don Hamilton's daughter, and that doesn't mean that much to too many people outside of the laborers, but he was kind of legendary over here on Kennedy Avenue. And I was a young punk and had to go sit on the bench and would love to go out and, run a jackhammer for a while or be a bottom man or a top man. But if it didn't happen, I was pretty good at doing the Kennedy Avenue crawl. And,
The Kennedy crawl, yeah.
Yeah, so the Kennedy crawl. And Hamilton said that he was aware of my escapades, and getting yelled at by Don Hamilton is a certain level of just energy that you'll remember the rest of your life. So I'm sitting there with Roach, and I've known him for, I don't know, decades. And then Ronnie Ware used to kind of beat up on him when we were at Wicker Park. So I was honored last night and to sit and hear a bunch of labor story. The Sparks brothers are freaking nuts, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. Honestly, the Sparks brothers, I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I'm like, look at these two animals. They have like really pretty wives. So I guess there's hope for all of us. I guess I'm an animal to some extent. Let's talk about what's going on in Michigan City. What is the issue out there?
There's an existing building that is being refurbished and going to be turned into a smaller data center, as data centers now are being built. Past all the city zoning requirements, city council approval. I don't want to speak out of turn. I believe that there was some incentives offered by the city to spur help that development, like many communities do. But in the end, the the developer and the main general contractor have chosen to bring a number of contractors that are not signatory with the trades in that area and workers from all across, primarily, probably, I guess you could say, the Southeast, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, that are out there on that job doing work that that Building Trades Council and those affiliates out there, out in Michigan City, do every day for all of the end users and entities out in that area. And, you know, we always say in the trades, and just give us and our contractors a chance to bid the work, and we feel confident that we will be able to compete on any project, whether that's road work, building construction, hospitals, and we're going to throw in data centers now. They're being built all across the country. A lot of them are being built under specialty agreements, whether it's what's in our world called National Maintenance Agreement or National Constructors Agreements, but primarily being done with union labor and signatory contractors. So there's some heartache there, and then there's been some issues. I guess I don't want to speak out of turn again. The operating engineers, the cement masons, and possibly one or two other trades have chosen to exercise their constitutional right to either banner or to picket the project for work that is going on there. And there's some back and forth legal-wise, and I don't know enough to speak to it. But that's kind of been the gist of what has now come out in the public and the media and everything else.
So let's look at the issue there, and I want to confine it, and maybe we'll do a second segment, and so we'll have it to play later. But the issue there is basically, I think, Phoenix Investments. Now, is that a Google center, or we're not really sure? It's
I don't.
Phoenix.
I can't speak to
But
what it's
anyways,
tied to. There's really
so
only three, right? Usually.
Yeah. So, you come into the region, and I'm going to go to the next story, which is AWS made an announcement. I think it was yesterday.
Just a couple days, yeah.
And I'm just going to read it. I mean, Amazon Web Services is looking to invest a record-setting $15 billion in a data center or data centers across Northwest Indiana in what would be the largest private sector investment in the history of the state of Indiana. AWS is already working on an $11 billion data center, or kind of on the LaPorte County and St. Joe County line. And now the company is planning to add another 2.4 gigawatts of data center capacity somewhere in Northwest Indiana, potentially across multiple sites. Your comment?
I don't know.
You don't want to go too much into what you know in the background, so let's stay on the top of this one, okay?
So, again, kudos to Randy Palmatier, business manager for the Building Trades, has already started discussions regarding data centers in general. I'm not going to be able to say yes or no that it was AWS's project, but there are 2 or 3 major planned data centers within Northwest Indiana, and I think it's not private information. Hobart location is one.
And Huddleston's pushing that. I saw McDermott came out backing Huddleston.
Absolutely.
And there is significant, I guess, maybe not significant, but loud, there's a little bit of pushback in the Hobart community. And that's hopefully...
100% there is,
yeah.
100%. And I guess to finish my step, Wheatfield in Jasper County, there's a planned or rumored development there. And then, of course, you've got the expansion up at the State Line Generators site that is proposed. The building trades are fully behind these projects. And, number one, putting people to work, right? So selfishly, we're here to provide manpower and signatory contractors to get work done, whatever the field is, especially the data centers. Now that is, I think there was a report that said data center growth was part of nearly 10% of the GDP last year. I mean,
of the state
that's
of Indiana.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's nationwide.
Oh, okay. Probably more here.
Those are huge investments.
Yeah.
And now you talk about these billions of dollars in investments. Those are huge projects. And I can, I don't want to say sympathize, but I can understand the concern for those that may not look favorably on them. Maybe there's an individual or families that live nearby. And I'll use the Hobart one. I'm just going to use the Hobart one. We have members that live quarter mile away from there, and they feel that that's going to impact them some way. My thought is that as the business manager with the ironworkers and now the building trades, that there's already development happening along 61st Avenue. You've got all kinds of trucking, warehousing, some lighter manufacturing that happens in the industrial park there. So, and then you just expanded Colorado Avenue for ease of access from 61st all the way to 30. The proposed site for the Hobart data center right now is being farmed. Now there are houses and there's people who live nearby right there, and they're going to be affected by the construction 100%. And there's a lot of myths about groundwater and environmental and the background noise that happens with the data centers. There have been some that have been proposed in Northwest Indiana. One was out in unincorporated Valparaiso, Porter County. That was, and I agree with it. I was for building it, but I agree with the site was a terrible site. It was right next to Wheeler High School. I mean, really, who wants that kind of disruption or that building right next to the school? I mean, it was hundreds of yards away. It wasn't a mile away. So that's kind of what's happening. I will also say, as a citizen, we all live in these communities where we're at here in Northwest Indiana, and the recent legislation that was passed that's going to eliminate funding for local municipalities, whether the towns or cities or county, where are you going to find that income to keep paying your police officers and your fire departments and have city and sewers and wastewater plants that are responsibilities of the communities that we all live in? That funding change that happened legislatively, I'm not going to go into politics, is going to severely impact these municipalities, and they know it. And if a municipality like Hobart can find a way to offset that loss of income with the tax revenue that they're going to get from a data center, which is millions of dollars, that's pretty important in those communities.
He's Ron Ware. I've got Adriana Alvarez texting me that can you do 2 segments with Ron Ware so she could cut them up. She likes them in 20-minute clips. So we got to stop right now and play some spot. Can you stay for another segment?
I can stay for a little bit. If you
There's actually people that are calling in right now, so maybe they have questions for you. Ron Ware is the head of the building trades. He's also the head of the ironworkers. And kind of timely visit here, and I didn't really mean it, but last night was a huge win for the Pirates. I do want to say one thing about that Pirates thing before we close the segment, and that is congratulations to Phil Hernandez of the Electricians. He will be the admiral for the upcoming Pirates. If you're anywhere close to the construction trades or the construction industry and you want to become part of the Pirates, you could take the pledge. I took the pledge last night that I will, after January 1st, when Phil would get credit for me doing it, I will join as a lifetime member, which means you got to put $1,000. But if you got a company, it doesn't have to be in the trades. If you serve food to the trades or whatever, think about it. Phil Hernandez at 697, he'll be able to take care of you, and he'll probably be contacting you if you own a company anyways, because that's what the Pirates do to shake the bushes and get some money out. So I took the pledge. I've always just given my $100 a month like everybody else. But you know what? I think it's that's how they make their money. All right, we'll be right back. I will. I want to go another segment with Ware, and I haven't even hit what I want to hit, and we'll do that right after this on the Voice and Face of the Week. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM. I'm Jim Dedelow, the Jim Dedelow Show in the morning here. Let's take a look at what's going on the roadways. 294 around the city looks pretty good, believe it or not. 80 going west looks good. If you got anybody coming back from Joliet, they're going to be in New Lenox, whatever. They're going to be in a heap of, well, actually it got a little bit better, but there was a big accident, and that's kind of between New Lenox and Country Club Hills, Mokina, in the Mokina area. And if anybody coming back, they got to wait. But the Bishop Ford is surprisingly light, and so is the Dan Ryan. I'm not sure exactly why. Friday seems to be the worst day of the week, and right now we're in the middle of the week. A lot of people working from home, I guess, or it's a holiday week now that I think about it. And that's got to be a factor, as very light going up the gut of the Southland Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65. Yesterday, just to remind everybody, a worker collecting debris along I-65 was struck and seriously injured. Also, the driver of a white 2006 Chevy Silverado was traveling at a high rate of speed in the right lane when it struck a 21 Ford F-150 and trailer parked on the right shoulder. It looks very much like the road worker, the person collecting debris, was in the ditch, and then the two vehicles, one of them rolled onto that person, and they have been airlifted. So, and then the driver of the Silverado also has serious injuries. This is for former construction worker, anybody out there who's ever worked along the road, know that this is your worst nightmare. Come on, people, slow down in work zones. If it's just a little bit, my wife says I do it too much. Part of it is I want to watch what they're doing, see what's that guy doing? But just slow down and, let's just get people through to the holidays. You know what I mean? And don't forget that we're going to have Andrean and Maryville. We're sending Peter Krakowski down. He's going to be doing all sorts of posts. Please it hasn't quite switched over yet. I think it's still the Jed TV Sports Network Facebook page. Like it, and you'll get notifications. They'll be down there. There's a big get-together the day before for Andrean and Maryville. I think Maryville plays in the evening, Friday evening, and then Andrean plays Saturday noonish. So just keep track on the Facebook page. If you want to watch it, you got to go to ihsatv.org, and you got to pay the state. We do not do this broadcast, although we have a pretty good connection with our own Brian Jennings. We'll be announcing the 5A game, which is kind of cool to watch Jennings not be rooting for Maryville and have to play it right straight down the line. If there is anybody who could ever do that, that is the professional known as Brian Big Time Jennings. Ron Ware's in the house. He is the head of the building trades for another month or so. But he's got a number of years in the building trades and running the building trades. He'll also be leaving the Ironworkers as an active member in June of next year. So, hey, if you know Ronnie Ware and you just want to call him, we can take your call at 219-845-1100. I don't know why the phone lines are lit up, Ron, but they are.
Hecklers, probably just hecklers.
I'm pretty sure it's just people that want to make fun of your beard. But let's take some phone calls. Hey, you're on the air. How are you? Hello. All right. Let me go to the next one. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Good morning, Ronnie.
Hey, good morning.
MX. Now, I consider this the high-tech industrial revolution. Guys like you and MX benefited from the Industrial Revolution. I worked at a steel mill. A lot of people end up working at Henry Ford. So we need these jobs, okay? And if everybody said no to the steel mills in the Industrial Revolutions, we would be in bad shape. I'm sure somebody like Putin could take us over. My term, and I hope Jed remembers this is the high-tech industrial revolution. And kids need jobs. We have this center where they learn how to weld and everything. What I want to know after it's built, how many jobs? Well, I'm in Hammond, you know what I'm saying? Now, I was in the tower gang, and there's still stubs there from the electric furnace. They got all the electric you need piped in there. 76,000 volts, 13.8, 6,600 volts. That's all piped in right there at that substation because I worked on it. So, in the end, I get like Jimmy Dedelow. I want to talk about myself. But in the end, how many jobs for these young kids? Because I'd like to see these young kids be able to raise a family and make a good living working at a data center.
All right, we're going to address that. But while I got you on the line, we're going to talk again about the data centers because that is huge, and we got the guy here that can address it. But, hey, MX, you started on a path of, I came out of the union, and we you know, a lot. It gave you a great life, and it gave you, great money. And the same thing with Ron Ware. And quite frankly, it got me on my start. I wouldn't be what I am without being in the laborers union. But I want you to address one thing, Ron Ware, and that is the next generation. There is massive work on the books coming, and it looks like do we have enough people?
I can speak for the ironworkers that we are going to be stretched thin. I'm not going to lie. If everything happens the way it's being talked about, the data centers, NIPSCO is going to do 2 major projects down at their location down in Wheatfield, and primarily a lot of that is to help support the energy demands that is happening nowadays, primarily with the data centers. I can tell you that the building trades will be ready to fill these positions and man our work.
That's great.
You see that, MX? It's like, kind of it is, it's that I want to just promote, and you've done it too, MX, that there's so much money to be made there and so much future work for a young craftsperson to come up and go into the trades right now. I can't think of a better time in history, really.
No, and I agree with you 100%, Jim. And I guess to get back to the one or two of the other questions that you had, you're absolutely right. I was just speaking to somebody here recently that, we were discussing the data centers, good, bad, pro, con, that type of stuff. And my comment was, well, what if the communities would have turned their backs on the steel industry back in the early 1900s? What would Northwest Indiana look like nowadays? Because of the steel industry that came here, that was advanced at the time. And that put people to work. It drove migration here. It brought people from all across the country to fill positions here. And in turn, I'm a union guy. I'm going to say it, that because of the wages and benefits that then were able to be negotiated, and the work and the money, the work and opportunities by the owners, the Inland Steels, the U.S. Steels, Jones and Laughlin, all that back in the day, it changed families and it changed generations. Kids went to college. Kids found better jobs. People had health care. So, yes, we hope that the data center, this new technological generation, that spurs some of that. Unfortunately, I think that the data centers don't produce the same number of direct employment once they're built, the way we kind of us older people think of the steel mills, the refineries, the NIPSCOs.
Yeah.
It takes less to run those facilities, but still, those are opportunities for our young men and women.
Yes, for now, but
do we lose him?
where cast armor was made. And that's where they made for tanks, right? And that's where the electric furnace came up in the bar mill. But if we said no to the steel mills, we would have lost World War II, and we wouldn't be sitting here like this.
All right, MX, thank you. You brought up a lot of good stuff, and we're going to go right to it, okay? We got Ron Ware in here, and I want to hit this a little bit more directly. Thanks a lot, MX. Anybody wants to talk to Ware, 219-845-1100. So let's go specifically at a little bit of what becomes not the strife, but you have the ongoing challenge. A lot of times these massive projects and these massive industries are going to want to slip some non-union labor into these things. Not just typically not iron workers, honestly, but a little bit of the carpentry work, and certainly laborers are vulnerable.
None of us are immune to it. You're
none
right.
None of the trades are immune to it. What has been, I mean, you've only got 2 months left on this, so you could probably address it a little more openly than maybe 5 years ago. But, I mean, what has been your philosophy about trying to make sure that people coming in know that you're going to give them a trained workforce and highly skilled and highly disciplined workforce, and they need to sign with you guys?
So I guess you can look at the success that we, the building trades, and our signatory contractors have had on other projects, right? If we can sell that to the next developer, the next end user, in this case, the data centers, and we can show them the hospitals that we're building or the other infrastructure here in the region and the success that those projects had, safety, on-time scheduling, manpower. Like I said before, this is a three-legged stool. It's not just the ironworkers or the carpenters or the pipe fitters or the electricians. It's our signatory contractors and it's the end users. And we, the trades, need to do a better job. I've said it for a long time, of selling ourselves. And I can tell you that as soon as we get a politician or an end user that comes and visits our apprenticeship training center and or any other trades training center, it opens their eyes to the training, the safety that we do every day that we can supply those end users and our contractors.
So there's a couple of things going on. Amazon, front page of the Times, reveals an additional $15 billion plan. Now, we could go and do a whole segment of why all these massive companies are wanting to come to northern or northwest Indiana. That's a different discussion, but they do. I mean, we have the labor force that can build it, and that is a factor. And that's one of the factors, but our location certainly is it. And then we've got power from NIPSCO and takes a lot of water, and but mostly our location, and we have some of the main transmission lines here going through northwest Indiana.
Yep.
But Amazon wants to bring $15 billion into the area, and we're already got a whole bunch of things on the books. Now, it sounds like they're going to be looking. Where are we going to put this, right? Now, do you feel as if sometimes there could be some of the northwest Indiana communities kind of, bidding against each other?
I would assume that probably happens. I can't speak to that behind the scenes, but I would hope that we look at this regionally as opposed to individually. And I understand each community, like I said earlier in our discussion about tax laws that are going to change, they're going to start affecting these municipalities. So they're all going to be looking at any way to offset that loss of income that they have to whatever community we all live in. But I would hope that everybody looks at this in a more regional approach, whether that's communication from the Northwest Indiana Forum, Lake County Economic Alliance. There's a number of groups out there that speak regionally, and I'm a region guy, right? You're a region guy. I grew up in certain communities. I live in certain communities, but I believe in the region. So I hope that that's being discussed.
I hope so too. And I don't know if this, it's kind of hard as a longtime region guy to realize, the average person, gosh, this is actually happening here. These high-tech jobs are coming here. These amazing union jobs with extra overtime and, making $100,000 in some of the crafts, that it can and is happening here. But you also have a fractured society here of 19 overlapping municipal jurisdictions here in Lake County, and then you go into Porter County, and Portage, Chesterton, Valpo do the same thing. Then you got Michigan City, LaPorte doing the same kind of competition. You name all, there's 20. I think I remember going one time to, wasn't the Forum, but the big organization that has like 40 people from different taxing units.
That might maybe NERPC or something?
Yeah, it was NERPC. And I'm like, this is the most dysfunctional thing. How do they ever get anything done? Well, that's kind of a snapshot of the region.
100%. 100%.
And I'm with you. I would love to see a regional approach to it so that it's managed and that we can know that it's managed environmentally and that we're managing the power with NIPSCO and that we're getting the water off the lake and that all of these services are brought up and, quite frankly, that they sign with signatory contractors.
100%. And, kudos to whatever community ends up in the lead in trying to land these developments. I'm just going to keep using Hobart because it seems they're a little farther along in the process. But in the end, it's going to be region workers that go out and build the facility. It's going to be the region that is affected by that facility down the road, not just Hobart, and kudos to Hobart, and those nearby will be affected one way or in one form or fashion. But that project, let's say specifically, we can't probably even understand the type of development that happens after that in the region, because that's there. And, that could be in Cherville, that could be in St. John, Crown Point, it could be anywhere, it could be in Portage. And to your point about everybody is looking to better their communities. I was just at the Portage Economic Development. We're members over there in Portage. That's where our office is. That's our home now. So we're deeply ingrained in Portage. Portage is a blue-collar community. Probably one of our largest centers of our members live in Portage, and we're ingrained there. And credit to the mayor. He's doing a great job, but they're fighting for projects just this very same thing that we're talking about.
And they're aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, you get Josh Huddleston out there. That dude's aggressive, man. He's a young, wrestler, football player out of Hobart, and you could just feel it. He tried to snag the convention center against all consulting advice.
It was David going up against Goliath.
It was David going against Goliath.
And he did a great job putting a proposal together, getting a developer that hopped on board, and kudos to him. He's trying to do things in his community. And
if they do get that data center, I mean, you're talking, I forget how many, what the number was on it, but I know that it's, hundreds of acres, and dozens of massive buildings and huge high-paying jobs, but mostly that huge tax bill goes right to them. And, then all of a sudden Hobart doesn't have the same problem that neighboring communities. So you could come into a situation where you kind of get, this community's got a data center, this one doesn't. And I don't think people know what SB 1's going to do here on January 1st and how much it's going to cut services in a lot of places.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's take a couple phone calls. 219-845-1100. I don't know how this has happened, but Ron Ware's here. He's the head of the building trades and iron workers for now. Hey, you're on the air.
Hi, Ron. Hey, Jed.
Good morning.
I've been in the transportation industry for 30 years, and it's one thing, it sort of gets left out. How does all this material get from the rail yards to and manufacturing to the site, right? Truck drivers. That's another thing that we are short on, over 500,000 nationally, and I've made a very good living for myself doing it for the last 30 years. I have a couple more to go. And I also look at the current projects, and I'm with Jed. Are we going to run out of women and men, trade people to come in? Because we look at the Indiana Sugar Plant, currently the walls are up. The new FedEx facility, 600,000 square feet in Gary. I'm a Gary resident, so I'm going to be a Gary homer. The Notre Dame plan that's going to be coming to fruition in the next 24 months. And I just think back of, we had to import a lot of workers for the BP expansion, right? Because we were kind of short there. It's kind of an exciting time. And now, I'm glad I'm retiring, but the 8094 project, right? That's 3 years. And going to Kentucky on a regular basis, I see from Hobart to Lafayette, that corridor on I-65 is just absolutely exploding with warehousing and refrigeration warehousing. Now, refrigeration warehousing is quite complex, so it takes a little bit more expertise with pipe fitters and iron workers there. But it is an interesting time, and it seems like it's all kind of flown under the radar, and it's just popping. All of a sudden it's right under our noses. I'd like your opinion.
You know what? Hit one thing there. Flown under the radar. Why?
That's a good point. I can tell you that I've been talking about there's been a lot of good things happening in Northwest Indiana for about 5 to 7 years. And they are quietly happening. You're probably right to the caller's point and your question. you look up and down I-65. We still have ongoing work in the steel mills that we help support there in that environment. But yeah, it has been a quiet growth up and down I-65. The other thing is the healthcare sector. You had a new hospital built out in Michigan City at the 421 Exchange, Franciscan,
Right.
and then along Broadway in Crown Point. You see major expansion happening in Franciscan and Munster right now. They're almost going to double the size of that facility right there. There is a lot happening in Northwest Indiana. To your point about the manpower, I was in the field at the time with the BP modernization, and we were fortunate that things were slow elsewhere in the country to man that work for all the trades. That was a huge one-time project. But it seems that things are starting to slow down a little bit across the country, where I think that we will be able to pull from those other areas for any labor shortages that any of the trades have.
How do you feel about pulling from other areas there, Dave?
Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
Being a business owner as well, where the work's got to get done. That's how Northwest Indiana and the steel mills, they were busing people from Kentucky and Tennessee, and that's how the region was built. That's why we're a melting pot, and there is a direct parallel between the steel industry and high-tech industry. And I think it's the same animal. It really is. They bust them in to live here and work here. I think they can do the same thing in the tech industry.
Well, I agree with you. We'll find a way to man the work. The trades will all find a way to man the work. And I don't think that it's something that the region shies away from, these developments, just because we have fear of not being able to build the facilities. Like I said, unfortunately, this type of new technology doesn't require a lot of employees to run their facilities. Once they're up and running, there's some great jobs. Your staff may be looking at something like that. These kids these days are different than what we were 35, 40 years ago. But I can tell you, I don't see where the region wants to turn their back on one concern being a possible labor shortage to build these facilities.
Jed and I, this was probably 10 years ago, and many other callers said, why are the trades industry not screaming this from the rooftop? You're having tens of thousands of tradespeople retiring, and what a great opportunity to come out. If you get P clean and if you have a driver's license and you have a basic aptitude, in a couple of years you can make $100,000 a year. So I'm so glad you're on the radio now, screaming it from the rooftop. So it's never, it's never
don't
too
kid
late,
yourself.
right?
Jim, I've been coming here. We started getting involved with you 10, 12 years ago, probably. And that message, at least from myself, as far as the ironworkers, has been that the trades are a great career. There's options for those young men and women who maybe college isn't the choice. And where else can you go and make an affordable living and have some benefits to take care of you and your family? And that's the building trades, whatever trade you pick. I've been saying it for a long time. Many in the trades have. And I'll point a finger at myself that we, the ironworkers, historically didn't do a good enough job of promoting ourselves and out in the general public. We were probably too busy focused on our day-to-day stuff, manning our work, in my case, going to work and providing for my family before I got in this role. And I'll say the salaried officers before me were busy taking care of the day-to-day operations, putting people to work, relationships with contractors, relationships with end users. You get pulled in so many directions that we didn't do a good enough job promoting ourselves. I think that has changed in the industry of all the trades, and Jim could probably speak to that because
and
he has
I will
so many
speak
here.
to that. All right. Hey, thanks a lot, David. You see, there's two things there, and one is that there is always the question, it's like, why is Amazon and Google and Microsoft, why are they coming to the region, and why are they bringing billions and billions of dollars in? If you're just following us, Amazon revealed that they're going to spend another $15 billion right around here somewhere. Northwest Indiana, maybe northern Indiana.
So I apologize, Jim, but I'm going to kind of cut you off. So that's a great announcement. It's a great announcement for the region. It's a great announcement for the young men and women who maybe are going to be able to go to work at these centers. But let's not forget, U.S. Steel and the Nippon merger. we just had a meeting, a tripartite meeting with U.S. Steel, the affiliates in the building trades, and contractors, primary contractors who work at U.S. Steel, Gary Works, Midwest Steel primarily. They're getting ready to spend over $3 billion in the next 3 years, too. So let's not forget those end users who are here and spending that money every single day. They're already here. And the steel workers that work in these facilities and the trades that go in and help to maintain and or upgrade these facilities, there's money, there's billions of dollars spent every year just on that we're not even thinking of.
So I guess when
and NIPSCO, I'm gonna add NIPSCO. NIPSCO's getting ready to do a peaker unit down in Wheatfield, probably $600 million project. Great project for a ton of building tradespeople and contractors. And then they're talking about some additional electrical generation that is probably in the billions of dollars. These are homegrown, local end users that we're supporting as the building trades, our contractors, that we can't forget about them too. So there's a lot happening in Northwest Indiana.
I agree entirely, and you ask yourself, well, why is that happening here? Okay, and you could talk about the favorable tax environment. That helps. You can talk about the location close to, not only can you, that you're close to high-level talent that can put it together, but I got a buddy that big name across the country, and we talk once in a while. And I'm like, well, why do you think that's happening? And he goes, I think you guys undervalue the fact that you have the workforce that can build that stuff. I mean, Nippon's coming in, and they're like, man, we don't care that it's union. We're typically, don't even worry. But they're going to get in there and be able to get that done, and they don't have delays, and they just want to get it done because they make steel and they make money. And the same thing with these data centers. They're making so much money. They're like, dude, just get it built. We know, you got a $100 million add-on, put it on, let's go. Let's move it forward. And that's how this works. And you got to have that ability of superintendents and project managers and people drawing the plans. And then you got to have ironworker superintendents that can get out and say, hey, I need 30 guys, and we need to build this tomorrow. You don't have that in other areas of the country. There's just not that many areas that have that. Boom, we can do it right now. And that's a huge part of this.
You're absolutely right. And the contractors that come from other parts of the country that come here and utilize the labor workforce that we have here, 100% of the time haven't realized the talent and the level of expertise from all of the trades, not just ironworkers. I'm selfish, right? The ironworkers, but the electricians, the carpenters, the cement masons, the pipe fitters, everybody down the line, the teamsters, the operating engineers, that when they leave here, they want to take our leadership that you were just talking about. Maybe it's a superintendent, maybe it's a labor superintendent, maybe it's an ironworker superintendent. They want to take him because he brings value and because of what he has shown that he and that trade can do here locally. I have said for a long time that all of our trades are fortunate to have had the opportunity for our men and women to work in the facilities where we do, whether it's the refineries, the NIPSCOs, the steel mills, or on the commercial work. We are able to work and have an experience in so many different levels of construction that other parts of the country cannot match.
Healthcare.
And that brings expertise level, productivity level that I selfishly, again, feel is unmatched anywhere across the country.
I agree on that. And I think that is exactly, Dave's like, well, how come we're talking about this? Well, Ronnie Ware is now, he's going to be retiring, so he opens up. Typically, he's this stiff guy worried about what he's going to say. Now he's leaned back in my chair talking openly. Hey, man, I'm getting texts. There's people waiting, evidently. All right, we got to take them. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air.
First, an observation and a question. The media is full of stories about the impact of artificial intelligence, and one of the conclusions they're making is it's going to take AI is going to take over entry level white collar jobs. So the question is, what's going to happen to these young people who are having trouble finding jobs out of college? And the answer is increasingly the trades and manufacturing. I mean, their industry is short hundreds of thousands of positions that they can't fill because they lack the qualifications. And there's good money to be made and a good life to be made for people to go into the trades and in manufacturing. The question is to Ron, and that is once you retire, are you going to do consulting or maybe go do politics because you speak well, you talk like a politician?
Kind of am. I had to get elected every 3 years in my organization. So, no, I don't have any plans along that line, I can tell you. There's been some discussion from some vendors that I kind of deal with on my ironworking side, but nothing's set in stone. And I want to kind of slow play it. Like to have some free time and be disconnected from my phone for a couple of months and go from there. But nothing nothing that's planned.
As a 10-year retiree, until you make a decision, do some volunteer work. It's good for your health and good to keep you out of the house and out of your wife's hair.
I've thought about that, and some type of volunteer work a couple days a week. Being involved in the organizations that I am, the nonprofits, and you see the rewards of the volunteerism or the donations and how that affects others who are less fortunate or it makes you feel good and gives you some kind of purpose every day.
Hey, Walt, you're jumping the gun. I don't want other people coming running for a Ronnie Ware. I got an ask here, too, so don't worry about it. All right, thank you, Walt. 219-845-1100. All right, one more phone call, that's it. Hey, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning. You said that these facilities may not need the manpower, and I personally think we won't need a quarter of the power at all. And as a 30-year tech veteran, I can explain why. See, tech companies and utilities are pushing for billions in new power plants and grid updates to feed the AI data centers, but they may become completely obsolete in just a few years as AI models dramatically become more efficient and run on things like your personal laptop or older hardware. They won't even take nearly the amount of power. So my question to you is, how do we avoid the telecom fiber optic bust, where taxpayers and ratepayers got stuck with the bill for trillions in overbuilt infrastructure that we didn't need? Because I just have to ask also, has this knowledge reached your industry? Are there any rumors of the evolution of AI and the fact that these data centers are built so fast that it's almost like everyone is rushing to spend all the money and inconvenience all the towns and the people when the tech is going to evolve where we don't need that kind of power to run it?
So I don't know enough about your question. I'll be honest. What's going to happen in the future in 5, 10, 15 years? I can't speak to that. I can tell you right now.
But do you think it's prudent?
Without having more
but
information.
The demand won't be there. That's the question I have for you. Do you think it's prudent to promote it when there's nothing being talked about in your industry about it reducing? It's just like computers used to be huge.
I guess I could say short of the opposite side of that discussion or argument, I can't speak to it.
So here's the thing, Brad. I heard this argument when they, every time they make a massive investment in BP or the two steel mills, right? Oh, my gosh, why are they doing this? I mean, 5 years down the line, they're going to build it with other composite materials, and then they just never have enough capacity. What you're talking about is predicting the future. It could be the other way.
It's already here, though.
Yeah, yes, Brad, but it could be the other way. Like they're going to go and build. I mean, if you're just joining us, Amazon announced $15 billion center, another one on top of all the billions that are already coming to Northwest Indiana, Northern Indiana. Okay, so who's to say that they're not building enough computing capability? See what I'm saying?
Well, the evolution of tech. Well, yeah, but the evolution of tech would show you that. I mean, they're always trying to reduce costs and reduce the amount of energy consumption. So, I mean, look at laptops used to be big. You'd have to carry them in a suitcase. Now you can wear them on your wrist, and they need a battery. They don't need any kind of power.
What you're talking about is the projection of the need for computing capability. And
right, it's where the industry is going because the costs of these data centers are so much, And will the rewards benefit? Because, for example, ChatGPT used to be hundreds of dollars. Now you can use the same technology on Grok for less than 50 cents. And that happened in 2 years.
Well, you brought up a
That's
good
what
point.
I'm saying. I just want to bring it up. I've been in the tech industry for 30 years, and I've seen it all. And everybody had big, huge plans, and everything was going to bring in all these jobs. And I can tell you one thing. Guys like me that got all the certifications and have worked for the Fortune 500 countries and consulted, not even getting looked at. Not even getting looked at now. They won't pay me what I need to be paid.
Thanks.
So I just need to bring it up because I don't think anybody's talking about it. And you're going to need tech veterans like me in the end because we're the ones that built it. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, Brad. Ronnie Ware, thanks for coming in, man. It kind of got away from us on some of the discussion, but it's important of what's going on. I think there's a lot of people that their eyes were open to exactly how much building is going on, how many, even hotel owners are probably like, oh, my gosh, they're going to be building all this. They're going to fill our hotels again.
Let's hope.
And then you're going to have a family reunion, and you're wondering why you can't get a hotel room for now they got to stay in your living room.
Like we said, I think there's a lot of good things happening in Northwest Indiana. There's not one hard reason, I don't think. Location, workforce, water supply. There's a number of factors that benefit the region. I'm not knocking Fort Wayne or South Bend or Evansville or Kokomo. I'll take the region any day of the week. The proximity to Chicago is huge. Say what you want, good or bad, about the city of Chicago right now, but that's a major economic hub, and we're right next door to it. We should take advantage of it.
He's Ron Ware. We'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.
Water supply.
One quick second. You don't have any music playing.
Oh, sorry. I had it on the other one over there. You could just pull up AUGs and it'll play. There you go.
No, you don't have anything on that one either.
Right. Sorry about that. I'll just hum. Go ahead to a spot. Hello, hamana. Wait. Hoya maraskara fipa. Just go ahead and play it, man, and I'll cover the time there, Adriana.
Well, we can't have dead music because then spots kick in automatically. We need those regardless. Here we go. Now we can.
Adriana Alvarez has joined us. Adriana,
Yes.
it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It was an excellent discussion with Ron Ware. Adriana is always on the lookout for podcasts, and I helped build a sports network with Sam Michael and some others, and as of Jan 1st, they're like, hey, dude, we can do a lot of the things you may have used to do, but I want to go back to kind of fixing the radio and moving back to our original location is part of that. And Adriana's like, no, we need a podcast network. Oh no, we need a YouTube channel. So that's on her, and it has grown considerably. But you're always adding podcasts that I don't even know about, and certainly Ron Ware had a lot to talk about today.
He did,
and he did it well, which is surprising to me, knowing him for 55 years or so. But that was an excellent segment. We got basically two segments out of that, and I did cut it at like 22 minutes or something. Hey, let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks pretty good. The Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan are way lighter than normal. And the Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. Holiday traffic right there, really what it is. A lot of people working from home, a lot of people not working. And then it's just lighter traffic. It's very odd to be 7:45 in the morning and be able to come up the Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan with such ease. Adriana, with the weather.
So currently right now at the Strachan Van Til Studios, it is 48 degrees today. We are seeing highs of 54 degrees and lows of 33. A little early rain this morning with low clouds and fog, followed by some more low clouds. There's a wind advisory today, so just be sure to look out for that. Then on Wednesday, highs of 37, lows of 25, gusting winds past 40 miles per hour, cloudy and a little bit colder on that day. And then on Thursday, for Thanksgiving, we're seeing some colder weather, high of 34 degrees and lows of 23, brisk cold with some sunshine and a few clouds.
Did you just get a text from Purdue?
I did, and I looked at that very confused. But I don't know. Can we say anything about that?
Well, I'm asking Goddard right now. He'll be able to give us a ruling on that. Okay, just give us a minute.
Yes,
I don't want to put something out there that. I mean, this is pretty serious.
Yes, it's like how in like cartoons when the question mark goes over someone's head. That's what happened when I saw that. So we'll just wait to see about that. But I was hearing your guys' discussion that you're having just now, as I'm getting everything ready back here, and it sounds very interesting. And I did not know that Amazon was bringing in more money after they built that really big facility over there. I didn't know that they're bringing way more money in, and I was like, okay.
They want to spend $15 billion.
And I'm like, all right, you just built that one. Give it a little time.
Well,
but
the need for computing, I mean,
yes.
we're beneficiaries of the ability to, for more data centers. We stream on with our sister company, Heartland Sports Network. And what that has been, the tech just keeps getting better and better. And part of it is that people build these data centers and we're able to stream these games. So we're in this game. We need this. We can't have people buffering and that. And we used to get that all the time. We don't get it anymore. What was interesting, what Ron Ware had to say.
I think I came in like the middle as you guys were talking. So
what was interesting, one of the things he said, well, what about all the, hold on a second. Paul Goddard's on with Chief Miller right now. So he's going to give us the report. I don't want to put anything out yet. But anyways, he's like, what about all the ancillary industries? And we are that. And with all of these data centers coming here, it expands our capabilities for what we can do, partly because we can get it cheaper sometimes. We can cut deals with people and getting some storage space and that kind of thing. And there are a lot of other possibilities for other industries to locate here that are high tech. And I don't think people realize that.
It's because, and I've heard it, I've seen it, people have said it, that NIPSCO cost is going to go up.
Yes.
because of that. And I think that's what people are very much more concerned about, because that affects everybody that does it. And if you aren't in the tech business and you don't, I mean, it's hard to say that people aren't affected by tech, because they are. But I think they look to what am I paying, what bills am I paying, and if that's gonna go up and it's not because of me, then there's an issue. And I see both sides to it. I see where the benefit is, but I see where the downside of it is. So I don't know. I don't know what side I'm like, yay for this, or like, nah, get them out of here. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, there are a lot of people. I think honestly, you represent the general, the general attitude in the Calumet region, especially amongst young people. It's like, all right, do we want data centers all over the region and to, kind of be the second wave of industry behind steel and oil?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we not want that? And
I can understand why people don't want it in the region, because, like we heard from these phone callers, we keep hearing these region people, steel mills, the oil and everything, that the trades, that's what's here. And you bring something in that's not representing that and kind of taking away a light of that, then you're going to get a lot of people mad. You have people that are very much like in their ways, and it's good because that's how their parents made money. That's how their grandparents made money. That's where the work was. You get something completely different, I can see why they're mad.
So
I don't know.
I got these things I want to get to, but I want your opinion on something, and that is you heard Ron Ware and, I don't know, some of the callers call in talking that, well, a lot of these kids that are coming out of college, like yourself, although you don't seem to fall into this category, can't find work with their communications degree or their history degree or, their white-collar job.
I will say that it is definitely putting in applications just for internships, let alone, was very difficult to just land one. But I can imagine that it is twice as hard for a job. Because I've had friends that they graduated this past May, and they still don't have a job in their field because they apply. It's not like they're not doing the work to do it, but it is very difficult because they're either the companies that are hiring want you to have not just only a graduate, but they want you, not graduate. They want you to have a bachelor's, but they want you to get that master's as well. They want you to put in more time because college now has that attitude that now anybody can just go to college, and that they are watering down the degrees of some majors. So they don't want just a bachelor's degree. They want that master's too. And that's why a lot of parents of college graduates are pushing them to get the master's. Because it's that mindset of like, okay, yes, you got your bachelor's, go get the master's, you go make more money.
You know what? I think that discussion that we just had is representative of a different path.
Yeah.
And what Ron Ware and Dave from Gary were saying is that, we're short 500,000 truck drivers. We're short 500,000 people in manufacturing,
and those people are very, very important. We need those people.
They're making a lot more money than the recent college graduates are making. So, is there going to be a shift in people that are your age that are going to say, "Oh man, do I really need to go to college?" Or maybe they go to college at night or whatever. But these jobs that are coming here and are here and are in the trades, perhaps we'll be pulling some of those people that normally might go to college when they're saying, hey, dude, within a couple of years, you can be making $100,000. That's a tough decision. Do I go and get my education? Because all the previous generations are, okay, you got to go get an education. You got to go and get an education. Well, trades and education,
It is.
Is it going to be, are they going to be pulling from your peers?
And it's, for example, so my brother, he tried college. He didn't like it, so he went to go work at Lear Corporations here in Hammond. And from there, he was looking at different trades and thinking, well, okay, this job, I like working with my hands. Let me see what I can do to further that, get the education to be able to not only make more money, but have a secure job in that sense.
All right, we can talk about this now. I got this text, and so did Adriana. It says this: avoid the Student Union Library Building, SULB, on the campus of Purdue Northwest due to a bomb threat. Reported on Purdue Hammond campus. Avoid the area. Check pnw.edu for updates. Can you go to that website, see if there's any updates? Also, that let's see what Goddard says to me. He says he talked to Chief Miller, and they have a threat in there that Chief Miller and the PNW police are currently working the situation. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Are you guys in school now?
Yeah, we're still in school.
So
today's the last day before break.
Today's the last day before break.
Where did they say to go for updates?
pnw.edu. There's nothing up there yet. It just happened. So I'm just going to tell you what I know. Avoid the Student Union Library Building on the campus of Purdue Northwest due to a bomb threat. Avoid the area. Chief Miller, through Paul Goddard, reports that he talked to Chief Brian Miller. Remember, he used to be the Hammond police chief. Now he's the PNW police chief, and he's been there for a number of years. Says Miller he's confirmed to Goddard that they have a threat, and he is currently working the situation. You can go to pnw.edu. I'm guessing
that's a little concerning, considering that some kids are in class at the moment in time, and some of those classes are in SULB.
There's no way they are letting people. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sure they cleared that out.
Yeah, they might have.
Anybody that might be over there sitting in your car, if you happen to have been told to get out and you are in your car, call us at 219-845-1100. So we will follow this situation. Of course, we are on the campus of PNW. If you're listening from another area, we're on Indianapolis Boulevard. The campus has expanded over here. We are, a block and a half away from the main campus from SULB, so we can't look out and see. We're over here. So if anybody's over there and wants to call us at 219-845-1100. All right, let's take one phone call, and do we have?
Yeah, we have one phone call. I think it was what we were talking about before, the PNW thing.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hey, as far as these data centers go, I mean, everybody, it's a big deal, data center. A data center is basically a warehouse. And the special needs for a data center in NIPSCO's areas is they need a 69 line to feed it, right? It's not just if you look up at the very, very, very tall poles, when you're driving down the street, not the transmission ones, not the big towers, but the very tall poles on the very top is a 69. It's 69,000 voltage for the top deck. The next deck is 13,000 volts. So those data centers can't run off just the regular poles going down the alley or going down a street or whatever. So they need a 69 line to feed it. So those lines run in between the substations, right? They don't run everywhere. So they try to situate those data centers as close to those as possible, but it's not always possible to have available land next to those lines to build a data center. So what NIPSCO has to do is they have to run a 69,000 volt line there. So that's the challenge on the electrical side, right? It's just a matter of setting poles and getting it there. And then they need water for cooling. But as far as when let's say if a new technology does come along, they'll empty out the warehouse of all the servers, and it can become a regular warehouse. So after those things, if a new technology does come along, then it just becomes a warehouse, and that's all it is. My son had a catering business, and I was at 2 data center openings where, the shell was built, and on the Illinois side, it's 34,000 volts that feeds them. So when people talk about overbuilding data centers, they can easily be converted back into a warehouse because that's all they are. I don't know if it was ever explained to anybody before, but that's basically it.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. What he's talking about is the concern that we're building all these data centers. And if you guys have, obviously we're following the bomb threat, but the big story is Amazon saying they want to do another $15 billion in northern Indiana of data centers. That does bring into it brings into the equation power, where they're going to put it near power generation or power substations, water from the lake, will a community have the land? And there's so many parts to it, but ultimately you're talking about massive investment in the Calumet region. And Ronnie Ware, if you missed it, Adriana will cut it up and she'll put him on my podcast on Jim Dedelow, and then we'll also play it on the air. But
I was going to say, for people who are wondering about the loop when we are not on, we are currently working on that. So it's going to take a little time, but for right now, we're going to try some different things. So if you're hearing the same things over and over again, we know we're just trying to work on it so that way once our system's built, we're good to go. Hopefully by New Year, we will have it all good to go, if not sooner. It's
kind of a holiday project. We're moving right now and kind of concentrating on that. But, hey, listen, we're going to take a short break and come back. I typically only go till 8. I'll do another segment, but I want to remind people that I'll just read the text and avoid Student Union Library, SULB, on the Purdue campus due to a bomb threat reported at Purdue in the Hammond campus. Avoid the area, and we had that confirmed by Paul Goddard of Region News Source. You can also please make sure to like Paul Goddard's page on Facebook. It's Region News Source. Type those 3 things in, like the page, and you'll get updates. We'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region.
Good morning, everyone. You are listening to the morning show on WJLB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. We're going to start off with weather for today. So let me clear this. Here we go. So it is a bit of a gloomy morning. Today we are seeing highs of 54 degrees and lows of 33. A little early rain this morning with low clouds and fog, followed by some more low clouds and a wind advisory that we're seeing until Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, we're seeing lows of 37 degrees and highs of 25. Again, that wind gusting past 40 miles per hour, cloudy and colder weather. And then for Thanksgiving on Thursday, we are seeing highs of 34 degrees and lows of 23. Brisk and cold with some sunshine and a few clouds. And that is preparing us for the Christmas season, as we are seeing we are going to be in the low 20s and 30s moving forward. So that's all we got for weather.
It's 40-mile-an-hour winds on Thanksgiving.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes.
40-mile-an-hour winds. And it's going to be like, high 20s, low 30s. It's going to feel like it's in the teens. That's why.
So fun.
That's why we're so tough. So, a lot of people that are used to, like even this morning is a little bit of a fake out, and that you're just going to wear a lighter jacket. At some point it's going to turn, and we're going to have a really cold Thanksgiving. In terms of the traffic, 294 around the city looks pretty good up until right before O'Hare. And then you have looks as if there's just some slow traffic there that's backing things up quite a bit. I don't know if that is just extra traffic getting out of town or if there's an accident, but allow some extra time to O'Hare. 80 going east and west out to New Lenox, Joliet. You'll be all right. It starts to get bad in Joliet like it always does. The Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan are pretty open today. Already holiday light. Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65. In terms of traffic, horrible accident yesterday. Had I-65 all jacked up. A worker collecting debris was struck and seriously injured and airlifted out. And then also the person who struck. So I guess it was a vehicle. Like the guy was working and picking up debris along the highway, parked his vehicle there in the emergency lane, and somehow the Silverado hit that. And the driver of the Silverado is also in serious injuries. And the Silverado pushed the F-150 down onto the worker, and this is really a horrible situation, but a lot of you folks were caught in that traffic yesterday. And just remember, man, you're hearing all the spots, all the LIUNA spots that the laborers from downstate union has bought here. Just slow down in construction areas, and hopefully we won't have this kind of problem. We're following one story right now, and I don't know, Adriana, read the thing off the website, would you please?
So on PNW's website, it says SCOB and DSAC close the student union and library buildings on PNW Hammond campus, and James B. Dorkins Student Services and Activities Complex on PNW's Westville campus are currently closed due to an investigation of a potential bomb threat.
So we have confirmation that there was a bomb threat at SULB, the student library building, the main hub of Purdue Northwest, right behind us. We have confirmation from Goddard at Region News Source, so I'm sure he'll post some updates. Go to Facebook there for Region News Source, and we'll try to stay on it as long as we're on the air here. Now, the thing out at the Dworkin Center in Michigan City, Westville, we don't know if they're closing it out of caution or if there was also a bomb threat there. So we'll follow the unfolding story, which is what a drag. I mean, Adriana, with all of the kind of political violence that's going on and certainly like the Charlie Kirk assassination on a campus and, all of this stuff, I mean, you got to take it seriously now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of scary. And I don't know what to say about that, and neither does Adriana. It's just is kind of shocking that it's right behind us, and we'll leave it at that. I got a few more stories I want to get to. Hey, did you guys watch the Notre Dame game? Kind of a big deal. University of Notre Dame showing a spotlight on the city of Gary in an ad that aired during the Fighting Irish football game against Syracuse. It reached a national audience. An ad says, "What would you fight for?" It aired and on the Jumbotron and nationally on NBC. I think Notre Dame won 70-7, so I don't know. It wasn't much of a game, but all of a sudden I'm watching. They played Syracuse. I don't know how they could beat Syracuse that badly. Syracuse used to be used right at the top of the heap, but they weren't last week. But then I'm watching the game, and then all of a sudden I go, that's Chris Harris. He's the executive director of Gary Redevelopment, and he was talking about coming to his family, I don't know, third or fourth generation in Gary, and then about his dad and his grandpa always talking about how vibrant Gary was, and that he has never experienced that, and they're hoping that they will. And it was part of it is that the architecture school at Notre Dame has some sort of massive project that they're working on to revitalize Gary, and I haven't necessarily seen it or even heard it talked about, but here's what Harris said. He said, "It was deeply emotional to help share Gary's story and chip away at the negative algorithm that the city has dealt with. Although we have several significant wins, we want to bring more visibility to the world that downtown Gary still has value in its walkable infrastructure. We have much gratitude to the University of Notre Dame." The Mayor Melton also appeared in the ad. He called that. He said, "This is our moment to truly transform and turn the story around. I tell folks all the time this is going to be the greatest comeback story in American urban history." I'm going to say that again. This is going to be the greatest comeback story in American urban history. Do you guys believe that? Have you heard it before? Is it something that you would like to discuss? The greatest comeback story in American urban history. Well, we're talking about a lot going on. $3 billion investment by Nippon. You've got data centers wanting to come to Northwest Indiana. Is there available space to put one of those in Gary? Amazon just came out and said they're going to spend $15 billion more up here in Northwest or Northern Indiana. If we get our act together, we bring it to Northwest Indiana. Honestly, if we don't get our act together, they'll take it in South Bend, no questions asked. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the the Amazon, and we did the Notre Dame thing. Oh, just kind of a crime story out of the Region News Source reporting that a woman was charged after spitting in the face of a hospital staff. Michelle Maria Saki out of Maryville has been charged following a battery incident reported at local hospital, according to a probable cause affidavit. This is off of regionnewssource.org. Police were dispatched to the hospital in the 8700 block of Broadway. Staff member reported that a patient had forced her way out of a room into the triage area, and that during the restraint, the patient spit in the staff member's face. Charging documents indicate that officers did not speak with the woman at the time and that she was being sedated. The affidavit also notes that police had previous contact with the woman earlier in the same day regarding an apparent overdose before she was transported to the hospital. Officers later came back and put her in handcuffs, but the affidavit states she was not admitted due to her condition and was taken back to the hospital by ambulance. So She is being charged with battery against a public safety official and disorderly conduct. Adriana, do we have any more on the bomb threat?
Nothing more. I just updated the website and nothing showed.
All right.
Or reloaded, sorry.
Okay, so we are talking about a bomb threat at on Purdue Hammond's campus.
I would say my friend just texted me. She was like, I have a test in there today. Should I email my professor? I'm like, yeah, I would email them because that's where our testing center is. And I can imagine a lot of students have to be in the student union library because that is one thing. Right before breaks, we usually do get a lot of kids who are sent there to do their tests.
So I'm going to just ask you to put together something for the next few minutes, and that I've just been called into action to take my granddaughter to school.
Okay.
So I got to be back at 9. But we only have another
15 minutes.
Yeah, we only have about 15 more minutes. I just want to reiterate that there is a bomb threat right behind us. We're on the campus of Purdue Northwest. No, we're on Indianapolis Boulevard in one of the campus buildings that's now a cybersecurity center. Used to be a kind of a innovation and entrepreneurship center, and it has certainly switched over to the cybersecurity center. You know, Adriana, I felt kind of I don't know if I should have been doing this, but I brought the grandkids over here like I have for years, and you've seen them many times. And then we go out in the middle area, and I push them up and down on one of the. They got a little.
Are you going to be pushing them all around and walking into each studio in the next one? Because they've never been to that one.
Yeah, they've never been down there. And part of the reason here is it's such a wide open space, and the kids like to run, and it's just at lunchtime. So I do it. I only make sure I do it at lunchtime, and that never really mattered when it was just a bunch of entrepreneurs walking around. But now they got the cybersecurity center. And I don't think they take lunch.
They got professionals walking around.
There's people in their offices are like, what is that guy doing with those kids in the open area there? And I'm like, well, it's just what it is. So let me see. All right, I'm gonna head out, and I'm gonna take the kid to nursery school, and then I am going to come back, and I will be live on the air at 9:05. We have hospice at 8:35. So we're going to take a short break right now, and Adriana's going to carry you guys on to 8:30, and then just stay tuned. We got all this stuff. Now, I do want to let you know that Adriana and I will kind of be changing out the podcast today, so if you've been hearing some of the same stuff, we will make that adjustment. Also, Adriana, I put in new news and weather twice, and there's one step I forgot to do. So regrettably, I've been playing Friday's weather for the entire couple of days. I did update it, but there was something that somebody let me know that one little box I didn't check. So there'll be new weather and all that stuff will be in there. So I got to go, and I'll be back in about 45 minutes to 50 minutes and do my Mastering Local Marketing podcast, and maybe also the Limbwalkers podcast. Remember, you can always go to Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Adriana's got, 18 podcasts or so. And you can...
Let's see if we can hit that 20 mark by New Year. That'd be fun.
You're killing me, babe. You're killing me. All right. She'll be back for a few minutes, and then you'll have... I see them already. Damian, Rico, maybe you could start them all there early if you want.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, I got to go. I'll see you in a minute. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I turned your headset off before you put it back down on the desk. So, for about 10 minutes, I don't know. If anybody wants to call in, 219-845-1100. Thanksgiving is on Thursday, so if you guys have any kind of cool Thanksgiving stories, some fun ones, definitely call in. We want to hear about those. As the holidays come around, we just kind of want to keep it a little bit lighthearted as we've just had that whole thing happen with P&W. So they just sent a text about the Westville area. So hopefully we get more updates on that and that everybody is safe and sound. But for the remainder of the show, I do just kind of want to talk about just some Thanksgiving vibes. So you guys want to call in some fun stories that you have family members. I will say I do have one pretty fun little story because we only have about 10 minutes here. So I remember that with Thanksgiving, we always do the big celebration like everybody else does. And there was this one time that there was turkey bingo at one of the community centers in East Chicago. And my grandparents and we went with some of my aunts. We went to there, and because I was like, I think I was maybe 4 years old. I don't know. I just love bingo. It was so fun. So we go, and it was turkey bingo. So they give me a card. I'm over here playing bingo. Great, good old time. But mind you, little 4-year-old me playing bingo, and I won. Yeah, I yelled bingo, get my card and everything, and they said okay. Now, besides like the actual like turkey, they had a bunch of other prizes, but I happened to win the big old turkey that was heavier than I was, and I'm over here carrying it back home. And we walk back into the house. My parents are there, and they're like, what does she have? As I'm like struggling up the little step to get into the house, and I'm dragging this big old turkey that I won, and they start laughing because it was way more than my family ever needed. So they didn't tell me this, but I was like, look, I got a turkey for Thanksgiving. I got food for us for Thanksgiving. And they started laughing. Well, many years later, they told me that with that turkey, what they did was they told me that, yeah, that's what we're eating Thanksgiving. And I was like so proud, so happy with myself. But we actually donated it to our church because it was a real big one. We didn't eat all that. We always like get a little small one because my family's not really big on the turkey aspect. We're more like the roast and the ham kind of aspects of Thanksgiving. So it was pretty funny that I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm feeding the whole family. When in reality, we were just like, we're going to donate that. We don't need it all. But remember always doing that. We always did the wishbone, of course. Everybody always did the wishbone. I think I only won it. Me and my brother would do it. I won it one time. I think my brother won it the other times. But it was really fun. And I think one thing of Thanksgiving that I like the most is that we eat really early. I know that there's some people that they eat Thanksgiving dinner around, I would say they'd eat around like 5-6 o'clock around that time. My family, we're eating by like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I always thought that was just normal because we wake up really early, make all the food, everything you ever need. And then by the time it's 1:30, you eat, everybody takes a nap, and then we have second dinner, which is around that 5-6 o'clock time. Now, when I worked at my retail job, and Thanksgiving was one of our very busiest holidays that we had, and I remember they put me on the morning shift. Well, I was like, well, I eat in the morning with my family, and I was like, does anybody want to switch with me? And I remember this one girl, I don't remember who I did, but she was like, I'll switch with you because she had the 5 to 9 shift. I was like, no problem. I've worked those shifts before. Man, I didn't realize that was like the real busy time because not only is it retail, but it's food as well. So we're handling the food part of it too. And it was so busy, it was so packed. It did go by fast, but it was like boom, 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 all the way through and through. So then the next week I see her again, and she was like, so how was the shift? I'm like, it was okay. It was good. How was dinner with your family? She's like, it was good. Thank you so much. I was like, yeah, no problem. As long as like everybody gets to have like spend that quality time with their family, that's what's most important. I see Paul Geyer in chat. He said food and Cowboys. Yep, that is one positive of Thanksgiving. It is that football game is always on. I see our Bears are doing pretty well. It's really funny every time that I wait for a couple of my friends. They watch the game every Sunday, so I wait to see their posts on social media to see if the Bears won or if they lost. They keep winning. They keep winning. So it's a good day to be a Bears fan, even though it's one of those. In the past, we've always seen, they're going to lose. But if it's not the Bears, we root for the Cowboys, I will say. And if Bears and or Cowboys are not playing, we root for whoever is going against Green Bay. So that's how we do it in my family. And it's been pretty fun because my grandmother, she gets very intense with the TV, and she's yelling as if she's there at the game and the football players can hear her. She's yelling at the TV, so that's how I know she's watching football. But I will say Apple did one thing that I was very happy about. So we all know that the Charlie Brown cartoons that they usually do play, I believe it was on ABC that they played it. All the holiday Charlie Brown cartoons, they would play them on the cable, and or if you didn't have cable, it was just oh my goodness, I want to say Channel 3, but that it's probably incorrect. But they would play it on the TV. Well, since Apple had their streaming service, they took all the Charlie Browns with them, and me and my brother were really upset. Mind you, we're older teenagers, but we would sit down, we'd watch it as if we're like 5 years old. So this year they announced that for a window of time on the Apple streaming service that it was going to be free to everybody. And that's good and all, but we're like, nope, just bring it back to the regular TV. Not everybody's going to go download Apple just for that one thing and then leave it on after that. So I will say we got to win, but then also it's just a very short window instead of just all throughout Thanksgiving when it's like a very short cartoon. So with that, it is 8:26 a.m. We are going to end it a little bit early because I know that we have to move around the studio. So with that being said, we are not going to be here in studio on Thursday. Everybody is going to enjoy the holidays. So for that ending segment, hope everybody here has a happy Thanksgiving, that everybody's able to spend time with their family, loved ones, and kind of de-stress from everything happening here in the world. So it's 8:27. Right now we are going to have Hospice of the Calumet area come on. They're going to do their community programming. Then we're going to have Mastering Local Marketing of Notoriety, and then I believe we will have Limb Walkers as well. So with that, hope everybody here has a happy Thanksgiving. We will be right back after the short break. Let's hope that the music plays right now. No music, that's great. Let me find some better jazz than what I was playing earlier that doesn't have an ad. I think that was what's happening there because it shows that it's playing on there, but I guess not. So if these advertisements would like to skip, there we go. Now we go.